OHYES, the Ohio Healthy Youth Environment Survey, is a voluntary anonymous online survey designed to collect data from Ohio students in grades 7 through 12. The survey collects data on important adolescent health topics. OHYES helps parents, schools, students, and others by providing data that can help identify needs and trends and support planning to better meet those needs. Another video in this series reviewed the reports and data tools available to help schools and communities use the results from the OHYES survey. These reports are important tools that can help schools and communities use the results from the survey. This video focuses on how to interpret data from the Ohio Healthy Youth Environment Survey, OHYES reports that are available on the OHYES website, along with data that can be accessed on the OHYES Public Access Database. Purpose of this video. In this video, you will learn about the types of data that are included in OHYES reports, what data tables in OHYES reports look like, how to interpret the results in OHYES data tables. How to get to the website. We will start by getting to the OHYES website. As a quick reminder, you can access the data at the following URL: oyes.ohio.gov. You can find links under the Results menu to access the database for reporting and to download reports. Obtaining survey data is explained in greater detail in our video covering database access and types of reports. In this video, we will only be covering how to interpret database and report data tables that are obtained at these links. OHYES survey background. School surveys are used to measure trends in youth behaviors and risk and protective factors. This data is useful to assess community-specific needs, conduct health assessments, and meet federal grant reporting requirements. The Ohio Healthy Youth Environment Survey, OHYES, is a collaborative effort between the Ohio Department of Education, Ohio Department of Health, Ohio Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the Ohio National Guard, representatives from higher education, juvenile courts, foundations, and community service providers. What types of data are reported for the OHYES survey? Only summary statistics are reported for the survey and not individual source data. All reports provide information in a similar format. The number of students selecting each response option is reported. For example, 30 students chose yes, and 120 students chose no in response to the item, "I feel safe in my neighborhood, town, community." The total number of students responding is reported. For example, if 30 chose yes and 120 chose no, the total would be reported as 150. The percentage of students choosing each response option is listed. In our example, students responding yes would be listed as 30 out of 150 equals 20%. The total percentage will always add to 100%, or all students responding to that item. Most items are single-choice items, where students can only select one response. Some items in the reports give the percentages of students selecting an option for Choose All That Apply survey items, where one can select multiple responses. Some basics about reports. By survey year, several reports are produced from the OHYES data, comparing the entire OHYES survey sample to a subset of the OHYES participants that are the subject of each report. Reports are generated for the Appalachian region, each county, each board, each school district, and each school. It should be noted that school district reports also include data from the county in which the district resides, when applicable, in addition to the entire OHYES survey sample. We will walk through two examples of actual data from the Appalachia report for the 2015-2016 school year. Reports. Single-choice items. Single-choice items are survey items for which students can only choose one response from multiple available options. We will examine the first item in a series of items about alcohol, where students are asked the age at which they first drank alcohol. This item is shown. We will explore some of the specifics of this table as an example, so you feel more comfortable interpreting these tables in the report. Reports. Interpreting single-choice items. The things we want to highlight about the tables for single-choice items appear in colored boxes on this slide, and we will consider each in turn. The purple block has the header of the table highlighted for the OHYES data. You will note that for OHYES, or all OHYES survey participants, and for Appalachia, there are two columns. The first column, in red, presents the count of students selecting each survey response. The green box shows the total number of individuals responding to the survey item, or the sum of all counts in the red box. The second column, in blue, indicates the percentage of students selecting each survey response. These percentages are calculated by taking each count in the red box and dividing by the total in the green box. Note that all percentages will add up to 100% in the yellow box. Most of the tables follow this general structure. The number of students who should have responded but did not are also listed for survey items in the brown boxes. Participation is completely voluntary, and participants may skip any item. Also, the survey includes skip patterns, where some items are skipped if they do not apply. We will walk through a couple of sample interpretations of this data to be sure that the content of the tables is clear. As our first example, we can see that 26,426 of 37,747, or 70.01% of all OHYES participants have not initiated alcohol use. Fewer Appalachian participants, 5,607 of 8,699, or 64.46%, have not initiated alcohol use. As in our first example, we can see that 29.99% of all OHYES participants have initiated alcohol use. This is the sum of the percentages who initiated alcohol use by the ages shown in the table. We can also see that 35.54% of Appalachian participants have initiated alcohol use. Again, this is the sum of the percentages who initiated alcohol use by the ages shown in the table. Note that to calculate the response rate, we can first see that among all OHYES participants, 37,747 responded to the item. This is the numerator for our calculation. We can also see that 2,286 did not respond. Therefore, the denominator for our calculation is 40,033, or 37,747 plus 2,286 participants who could have responded to this item. Therefore, 94%, or 37,747 out of 40,033, did respond to the item. Reports. Choose all that apply items. For some survey items, students were asked to choose all response options that apply to them. These tables present the count of individuals selecting yes or checking the item and the percentage of individuals selecting yes, count of yes responses, divided by the total number of respondents for each possible response. Reports are generated for the Appalachian region, each county, each board, each school district, and each school. It should be noted that school district reports also include data from the county in which the district resides, when applicable, in addition to the entire OHYES survey sample. Reports. Interpreting choose all that apply items. The things we wish to highlight about the tables for choose all that apply items appear in colored boxes, and we will consider each in turn. Again, there are two columns for each geography. For example, Appalachia has two columns, where this is highlighted by the red box. The column in green for Appalachia lists the count of individuals selecting the yes or checked response. The column in blue for Appalachia gives the percentage of individuals selecting the yes or checked response. The denominators in calculating these percentages appear in yellow boxes. The number of students choosing not to respond to these items appears in the numbers noted in the brown boxes. As before, we will walk through a couple of sample interpretations of this data to be sure that the content of the tables is clear. As our first example, we can see that slightly more than a quarter of Appalachian participants, 25.39%, equals 2,296 divided by 9,043, and OHYES participants, 26.79%, equals 10,043 divided by 38,945, manage stress with support from others. As our second example, among Appalachian participants, 9,043 participants responded to the item, and 241 participants did not respond to this question. That is, there were a total of 9,284, or 9,043 plus 241 participants who could have responded to this item, where 98%, or 9,043 divided by 9,284, did respond to the item. Database. Single-choice items. While the reports display tables for all students within a particular area, for example, county or district, the data warehouse makes it possible to provide results by participant characteristics, such as gender, age, race, or grade. How to run reports in the data warehouse is discussed in another video in this series. To demonstrate the interpretation of items by a particular participant characteristic, we ran a report of selected survey responses from the 2018-2019 school year for all OHYES survey participants to an item about perceived risk of marijuana use by gender. Let's examine that table. Database. Interpreting single-choice items. Data warehouse single-choice tables are similar to the report single-choice tables. The column header at the top of the table, appearing in the red box here, indicates what is being reported for each column. The totals appearing in the blue box represent the column totals. The row totals appearing in the green box represent the item frequencies across all groups, which here is across all gender groups. Stated differently, the totals across columns here reflect survey responses for perceived risk of marijuana use for all genders in total, and the row totals represent all survey response options in total for perceived risk of marijuana use. As before, we will walk through a sample interpretation of this data with the table about perception of marijuana use as risky or not risky by gender. There are gender differences in seeing marijuana as presenting no risk, as non-traditional gendered individuals saw marijuana use as least risky. 36.7% equals 79 divided by 215, followed by males, 27.4% equals 1,603 divided by 5,842, and then females, 17.7% equals 1,050 divided by 5,945. Some limitations to keep in mind. OHYES data was not collected using a probability-based sampling design. Here are some considerations. A census of students was conducted in some school districts in areas of Ohio. In other areas, only selected grades were surveyed. Comparisons across survey years must be done with caution because participating districts and areas of the state often change from year to year. As you work with the OHYES survey data, pay close attention to the grades that were sampled across years and counties. Think carefully about the survey sample. Is it representative of your group of interest? This is a cross-sectional survey. The same students are likely not surveyed every year. Be careful of interpreting survey items about events and behaviors that do not occur very frequently. Using the information from this video. We encourage you to use what you learned from this video to interpret your own OHYES survey results. You may also want to share this video with others who are interested in better understanding OHYES survey results. Finally, if you have questions that have not been answered by this video, please contact us by email at info@oyes.ohio.gov or by phone 866-563-6904.